And that's okay. So I just pressed record to the cloud. And I don't, oh, there it is. Yeah. So my name's Angela Mills, and I work for the town manager here in Town Hall in Amherst. And I would like to welcome you to another meeting of the Cultural Council. This group meets virtually thanks to the suspension of certain open meeting laws by the governor's office. And this meeting, as I said, is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Town of Amherst YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of business Friday. We would like to thank this group for all of your hard work and dedication to the disbursement of funding for cultural events in and around Amherst. I know that you're waiting for quorum. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't forget to start the recording.
Thank you.
Sure.
I guess we can go ahead and start with the roll call, and then roll call for Eleanor when she appears any moment.
So before you roll into your meeting, I'm sorry, Julianne is the chair. And Julianne, before I exit this meeting, I have just invited Do Kim to all of the meetings for the rest of this month, but I have you scheduled for a meeting on the 16th. Is that no longer taking place?
That is correct. We
Okay.
also need to probably add one right now. Probably I'm looking at the December 18th.
Okay. Do you just want to, once you have quorum, run it by everyone and then email me as soon as you decide, or do you want me to go ahead and cancel the 16th and put?
No. We
Okay.
need two that we're going to need two that week. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. So,
Okay.
and these are now being scheduled from 6 to 8.
Okay.
Dedicated to plowing through.
Okay. So as soon as the group decides, if you could just text or email me, I'm happy to make that switch in Zoom and on the town board and committee calendar.
Okay. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Take it away, Julianne.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And we'll run our roll call. Evelyn.
Here.
Great. Bill.
Here.
Thanks. And Cody.
Here.
Great. Thank you. And it is recording. All right. What do you guys want to talk about that's off the record until Eleanor is here? Not much, huh? Okay.
Did you have any fun Thanksgiving plans?
My mother's been in and out of the hospital for the last 2 weeks. So she the Sunday before Thanksgiving, she just was discharged for pneumonia, which she was recovering from. And then on Tuesday, she had an unrelated different thing that had her back in the hospital. And so she went in really late Tuesday night, and I didn't hear about it until Wednesday morning. And anyway, we kind of thought, oh, she'd be right in and out, but she didn't get home until late in the weekend. So the turkey got cooked. We didn't sit together and eat it. It was completely chaotic, but all you have is your health, and she's doing much better. And we have fantastic hospitals and doctors here. I don't know, since you're both new to the area, but for instance, Cooley Dickinson is in the same, it's in the network with Mass General in Boston, which is frankly, one of the best hospitals on the planet. And, never think, that you're just at some regional hospital here. It's all connected. And the care is fantastic. And it's really, nice to know that you can be close to home, but that at a moment's notice, they can continue the care with the specialists. And thankfully, we didn't end up taking a trip to Boston. At a certain point, it looked like they were going to whisk her off then, but yeah. So it's one of the wonderful things about being in this region here.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that she's doing better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good energy.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to Christmas. So, and the holidays in general.
Absolutely.
So how was your Thanksgiving then, Evelyn?
I traveled home to New Jersey. And it was it was a regular Thanksgiving, but it was nice to be back home for a little bit. I did some Black Friday shopping in Manhattan. I don't think that was a good idea, but it was certainly a good experience, I guess, or a novel experience. I've never thought to do that on Black Friday before, but it was interesting.
Where in New Jersey again? Remind me. I'm a Jersey girl too.
Yeah, so my family lives now in West New York, which is
Okay,
in
I know exactly.
Bergen County, next to like 2 towns over from like in between Fort Lee and like Hoboken.
Yeah. Does it still have like the sign that says that it's the embroidery capital of the world?
That's Union City, and it does. I'm actually originally from Union City.
Okay, because West
Yeah.
New York has a lot of embroidery too.
Yes. Yeah.
I used to I had some contractors there who would do embroidery and
Mhm.
sequins for
Ooh.
my work at La Sports Sac. Yeah, so
We definitely have to chat more about that. I feel like that's my fun fact about the area that I'm from.
yeah. Yeah. Hello, Eleanor.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm so late, and I'm sorry you don't have a quorum without me.
Yeah, we've just been here talking. We're trying to get all this ironed out. So, how are you holding up with the semester?
You know, it's crunch time, which has kind of just hit all at once, but it's okay. I'm just very like booked all over the place, but I was making my calendar today, so.
Okay, well, we're going to book you a little bit more, if at all possible. So before we get into everything, Monday the 9th, are you able to join us?
Yes, I am. Are these the dates from the email, like the original dates?
Mm.
Then I should be able to do all of them. Because I wrote them
Okay, we are really short on Monday. So I mean, we pretty much need everybody going forward.
Yeah, I can commit to Monday.
Okay, we're doing 2 days next week. So it's Monday and Wednesday next week.
Yes.
Okay, so you're good for both.
Yes.
And then we had originally planned for the voting meeting to be Monday the 16th. We're
Mhm.
adding another meeting on Wednesday the 18th.
Okay.
If by some stroke of genius we don't need it, we will cancel it and vote on this on the 16th, but we've got a lot of ground to cover. So are you available for the 16th and the 18th?
Yes, I can be.
And we are now pushing through with 2 hours, 6 to 8.
Right.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
So with that, I think we're all good to get started here. I'm sorry I was not able to send compiled scores back to you guys. I don't think I have it organized enough to send it right at the moment. Do you guys feel like we can work with me just kind of letting you know where everything is?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Is there anything I'm forgetting because I'm forgetting a lot these days before we jump into everything? No.
I don't think so.
All right. Who's going to be my timekeeper?
Oh, I can do that again.
Thank you, Bill.
Mhm.
And no, I had a thought. It's gone. Well, another thought was I did want to let everybody know that I realized that the values that were there for the total audience size or whatever it's called, projected target number served, in the template I sent you, those are all wrong. So if anybody was looking at that as being accurate, we have to disregard those. To get that information, we actually have to go into the panel book directly and look at it. The other thing I was going to ask for help on with the meeting is if folks can just keep an eye out for anybody raising a hand or anybody, any additional participants joining, because once I'm staring at the Excel sheet and at the panel book, I probably wouldn't see them. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. We were on number 47 in the sequence. This is Rachel Leader. She's a repeat applicant. She is applying for the Cles Cummington Festival. That's July 5th, and it occurs in 2 locations in Amherst and Cummington, Mass. They have a $22,000 budget. They're requesting $1,000 from the Cultural Council. And this is a Jewish cultural festival that's held in Cummington, Mass. And they also have an additional co-sponsored events in Amherst. They're dedicated to the creation and enrichment of Yiddish diasporic cultures. It's a lively community hub. This is the 5th annual Claes Cummington Festival, and they engage 500, not 500,000, just 500 attendees of all ages. They have concerts, workshops, music and dance, Yiddish language, theater, and traditional foods, including wood-fired challah and other bread. So this is open to the public, and they'll be showcasing world-class performers, and they invite everyone into communal singing and Yiddish storytelling. It's a very welcoming place to connect with Jewish cultural traditions. So with that, is there anyone who has any questions or who would like to champion this event? Oh, come on, I can't get anyone to champion this event.
I'm just reminding myself of this.
Oh, sorry. Bill, if you wanted to go ahead, please.
Sure. I will. I mean, I mark this as a 3 for me, just because it's got an array of different cultural events that appeal to a wide range of people, and it's a festival, which is to me is always kind of be bigger of a draw than like a concert or something like that. Festivals just feel like they draw in more people, so it serve more of the community. It's obviously well established, and I think well meets our intent here with promoting cultural events.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've done a great job with it in years past, and I think every year we've been quite pleased, and it's a pretty reasonable ask. I don't know that we have a full 1,000, but it's certainly I would fully support fully funding it to the extent that we can. Any other thoughts, comments, questions?
I put definitely, if we're not able to do full, a high partial is good for me. I think I put 750. I know that the Yiddish culture is really important for the region, so I definitely think we should support.
Yep. And one thing I'm just taking a quick look at, I mean, out of a $22,000 budget, we can't fund food. There is food in their budget, but there are plenty of other things, so we wouldn't be funding food, which we're not allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So how about we put it in, we use 850, the number, really truly high partial, and hopefully we can do that much.
That sounds good to me.
Yep.
Yeah. And just kind of looking quickly as far as last year to see what we funded. That right. That seems really, really low, kind of surprisingly low. It was 470 last year. So yeah, hopefully we can do a little more this year. Okay, moving to the next. So the next is Lefebvre and Friends Community Concert led by Dawn Lepere. And this would be spring of 2025, and it's going to be held in Amherst at a location to be determined. They're requesting their full budget of $8,800. So they're requesting all of that from the Amherst Cultural Council. So this is a community performance by 3 bands. They want to hold it in the spring. They would potentially have it at the Drake or the White Lion or on the Common, etc. And they would work in partnership with a combination of the following groups: Amherst Bid, Downtown Amherst Foundation, the Amherst Center Cultural District. They'd like to be able to bring this event to life with the help of the Cultural Council. And they realize they're asking for a large amount of money. If we're lucky enough to be awarded even a portion of the amount, we would be very grateful and closer to making the event happen. I can add here that this event performed with us at the fall block party. They were a huge hit. And so before opening to questions, I'd say, you know, certainly it's a great time and they're tremendously talented. Is there anyone who has questions, would like to speak to this?
I think on the score I put a 2. Not because I don't think that this would be a good event, and especially hearing that this was something that is a hit and is something that is already known in the community. I think I'd be more inclined to raising my or my support, I guess, increases. I think I would be interested in at least giving a third of the amount, being conservative because we do have a lot of requests. But I don't see why we wouldn't be able to support at least with a third of what they're asking for. But obviously I'm open to critiques, comments, questions, concerns. But yeah, I think I would definitely be interested in this event.
Yeah, one thing I do encourage applicants to do is to look at past awards and to try to, you know, frame their expectations and their requests accordingly, right? So on the other hand, this group, you know, performed and was not paid anything for the fall block party. And they're just lovely. But as far as the amount that they're asking for, I frankly, you know, don't see any particular way to just grant them that entire amount. We'd have to deny so many others. So at other times also, you know, we'd be perhaps more concerned about whether or not someone could get the space lined up and the dates lined up. And I don't have that hesitation here at all. But I do think that we need to really, you know, a third, I think would actually still be a lot, you know. I'm not sure if they've actually applied. Have to find where their grant was. So
Doesn't say that
I
they
was gonna
did.
say, do they identify what they would be using this money for? Is it for like venue rental? Is it like paying the musicians, like electrical things with
yeah,
their
let's take a quick look. So they're looking to cover the production and technical costs, which they estimate at $5,200. So stage, lighting, sound equipment. And this estimate was provided to them by Downright Production. So they got a quote for it. They're looking to pay the band. You know, musicians got to eat. 3 bands, each has about 11 musicians altogether. They're looking to pay the musicians about $300 each. So that's $3,300. And then they're looking to pay $300 for to Dawn LePere for the administrative work. So, you know, without the production and technical costs, which are real, just for the musicians at $300 each, that's $3,600. And that's certainly reasonable. It's just, again, for us to be the single source of funding for this, we'd have to deny so many other folks things as well. So I think they're looking to do something that's a little bit more ambitious. But frankly, you know, I would really like to see that for such a high ask come in much more organized and documented. And even then, I don't necessarily see that we can provide that amount of funding. I think the largest amount of funding perhaps that we've ever provided has been to the powwow. And that was in the neighborhood of 6,000 to 7,000 without looking it up. Yeah, even as a percentage, gosh, you said a third, Evelyn, that's like $3,000. That's huge. So I'm being really brass tacks, reasonable, and thinking closer to, I don't know, even 1,200 seems like it might be a stretch.
just a note, we're at time.
Okay. Anyone have any quick comments so we can put a number down here? It's great that we all want to fund it though. Yay.
Yeah.
I would say 800 to 1,000.
I like that.
Can't-
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that 850 number. Or maybe we go 900. That's at least paying 3 of the musicians, or at least paying 2 musicians and 1 admin, you know. So
Yeah, I'm good with that.
is everyone good with 900 if we can do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also like if they are able to go to the Drake, that like cuts down significantly, hopefully, on production costs. 'Cause they have a stage built in. I mean, I have no idea what that would look like, but hopefully maybe there are some options in town locally.
Well, we know the rate for the Drake, file this one away for yourself, is to cover the cost of opening the Drake is $1,200. Unless it's gone up, but that's been the number that we've been using.
That's fair.
All right. The next one is local access to Valley Arts at the Lava Center on the boards 25. It runs from January to June in 2025 at the Lava Center in Greenfield, Mass. They're asking for $200 out of their $10,000 budget. This is a festival of play readings featuring Connecticut River Valley playwrights, directors, and actors. New works and excerpts will be presented. They have several different formats, and they also have moderated sessions for feedback with the audience afterwards. This is, I believe, the 3rd year they're doing this. So they did it in 2023 and 2024, and they're expecting to present 6 plays as table readings and 6 as concert readings, opening the series the last weekend of May and running through June, into June. There are 6 directors that will be hired, and submissions will be invited from Massachusetts playwrights, screened anonymously by a team of experienced playwrights and consumers. So, and again, this is, I've gotten lost on my page here. Yeah, so they are requesting $200 for the event. Is there anyone who would like to, has questions or wants to champion this?
I just raise the question of public benefits that it isn't Greenfield.
Yeah, I do think it's probably, you know, it qualifies as being quite a big regional draw for folks and original work. And we're asking, you know, more. On the other hand, for every $200 we fund for something in Greenfield, we're not funding something here, but you know.
I mean, I'd be open to funding it, but you know, I feel I could champion it.
That's fair enough. Is there anyone else who feels that we should just take a hard line with things that are not here? Or, you know, kind of reading the room, do we feel that something like this, you know, is regionally significant enough that we should try to provide some funding?
I mean, I will say a couple of, you know, sessions into this, I have started taking a harder look and a harder line on where it is, whether it's in Amherst or close by. I mean, is this the sort of thing where we can kind of come back to it at the end? You know, maybe there's a group of things like this that may qualify because they have a regional broad appeal. We can come back and see if we have any room to add on at the end. But for now, to really focus on Amherst and kind of immediate environs.
You know what? I'm gonna put this one right back over to you, Bill. Is that something you can add to your categorization as far as to add a categorization for, it might be like a 3-tiered kind of thing for local, like absolutely in Amherst,
Mhm.
or if not absolutely in Amherst, geographically, logistically about is, the same as being in Amherst. And then, you know, kind of a third one for distant, regional but distant.
Yeah, I can absolutely.
Oh, so my another question is, have they applied before? Because I know there's a few that we are funding that's not here, but they are repeat applicants.
Yes, I believe they have certainly applied before, and I'm trying to see how much we funded them previously. Joe Mar local access. Let me see if I can see it here.
We are at time on this, just FYI.
Thank you. It's not jumping out at me right this second, but we definitely have funded them, I think, for the other two years, pretty sure.
Okay. Now, yeah, we should give them some. I mean,
Yep. We shall see. We shall see. I think, certainly taking that, geographic kind of distance into the category analysis will be great. So then there's Donald Longley applying for Equitas. This would occur as soon as possible within the next calendar year. It would be on the Amherst Town Common or a place of the council's choice. The applicant's requesting $5,000 out of their full $5,000 budget. So this is Equitas is a metal sculpture crafted from rectangle tubing, stands 8 feet tall, 31 inches wide. It's they're describing the shape of it. It creates a dynamic sense of balance and poise. Inspired by the principles of equity and harmony. They are planning to install this in the Amherst Town Common. And they feel that it's a striking piece that will enhance the public space by offering visually engaging and thoughtful, provoking addition for modern art, that it will foster appreciation for modern art and geometric design within the community. So I will take this one as far as I am questioning it because I believe it is outside of really kind of what we do. It seems more appropriate that it would go to the Public Arts Commission. To that extent, at a minimum, I would expect to have heard from the Public Art Commission that this is something that they're requesting and that they would like help, with the funding to make this happen. In the past, the Public Art Commission's funding requests have been far more measured, and that like just things like to clean up existing public art because they didn't have a budget, and they're, the art wasn't being maintained. So I feel pretty strongly that it's hard to argue for public benefit because I don't even know that it would be possible for this artist to, get the permission to have this, to make this installation, since there's nothing to support that here. Is there anyone else with thoughts along to share?
yeah, I guess I'm always skeptical when they request their whole budget, but good points. I don't remember what I gave them, but certainly will feel safe to say a 1 or 0, because I just felt out of all the requests we got, this one we could do away from.
Is there anyone who is not in agreement about not funding this particular one? Thank you. I mean, it's not that we wouldn't support sculpture with the right support in place. So moving to the next. Loomis Communities, emerging artist music performances at Applewood. This would be 4 Sundays during 2025 at Applewood and Amherst. They're requesting $1,600 out of their $3,940 budget. And this Applewood is already hosting a curated music series on multiple weekends every month for residents and their families and friends. But they are limited as to the number of performances that they can bring in and the quality of talent because of tighter budget limitations. So they'd like to host 4 enhanced performances in 2025 in particular to identify and secure young emerging talent. And the performances would be open to the public, as all of their performances are, and would be promoted and marketed. And they're trying to bring in more people from the community, and they want to acknowledge and recognize the artist and the supporters and the ACC for its support as well. So I will start off the questioning here, where my question is, if we were to go through all of the grants, typically there'll be at least several, different artists that we're providing funding to who are performing as part of their own grants at Applewood. So I haven't really kind of done that search yet. So I kind of think, from one perspective, we've been flowing benefit to them, and they've been sending letters of support to us. But for me, any amount that we would give them, I'd have to look at everything that's flowing towards their community. And I don't know of, I'm sure it's great for families to be able to be there with their loved ones who are residents, but I don't know to what extent the public in general is heading to Applewood for performances. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you, unless they really advertise this. It just doesn't have the public benefit feel. But I feel that's debatable whether the families count as public or not.
Yeah, I agree. I have the same concerns that Cody does.
So what do you think we should do here? It's also a pretty big ask. And I think another thing that's a bit frustrating here is I don't think there's anything really defining who these artists are in particular. So if I were to look, they're saying, oh, these people are future ones to watch, you know, but they don't even know who they'd like to bring in.
Right. Well, and even if they don't, if they could tell me that they were really looking to bring in emerging artists in the Valley or even in Western Mass, I would be more inclined to give some money, but I don't even see that necessarily unless I missed it.
Well, I mean, it's $2,800 that would go to 4 enhanced emerging concert artists. So from a stipend point of view, that's for people that have no credentials, no names, nothing. That's a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, they're asking for 1,600. The other budget items are travel, which we cannot fund. They're looking to do $240 worth of marketing and promotion. I don't know that that's going to get people to Applewood, and $500 for piano tuning or other instrumental needs. So, I mean, I think that piano tuning would be probably year round as well.
Mhm.
So, I'm leaning towards potentially not funding this because it is so very, very, very vague. So I can't really assess the public benefit. In addition to kind of while it is in Amherst, you know, it's really not a destination for the general public to go. And without anything specific, there just isn't enough for me to really put the money there for it, even though it sounds nice. But what is it?
I would agree.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say we have a lot of music offerings already that we're already leaning towards funding. So I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to mark that one, and you know, they can certainly apply again next year in more detail, and I would encourage them to do so. Okay. So moving to the next, we have Scott Maloney with something called I Am that would occur in February of 2025 at the Jones Library, asking for their total budget of $1,100. They're asking for all of that from the Cultural Council. And this is an interactive program where Scott addresses large audiences on a personal level. He gives methods to maintain focus on positive energy and avoiding negative thoughts in difficult situations, and suggests that, you know, one can learn from the past to prevent future mistakes, and sends us to his website to learn more. So is there anyone who has any questions or wants to speak to this one?
I mean, I guess my question is, my first thought on this when I read it was, does this count as a cultural event? I mean, it feels like really like a self-help seminar. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't know does that still fall within the bounds of what we do? And I don't know. So it's an honest question.
That's an excellent question. You know, I'm concerned there's no letter from the Jones. The main audience in the application is for teenagers. I have serious doubts that teenagers are going to be heading to the Jones for this, no matter how much advertising is happening. It seems to me that this speaker, like when I actually went to the website and looked at it, you know, he's the kind of person who might be brought in for a school assembly as a speaker. But I don't think that I'm envisioning, and I you know, I've got a teenager that age here in the house. I'm not envisioning him or his friends, you know, really going, oh yeah, I got to catch that at the Jones, and the Jones isn't expecting it. So for me, I'm
No, I wish he'd someone I expect to see at a conference as a keynote. Not a small shop.
yeah. And it looks like this was probably sent to maybe almost all of the cultural councils. I don't know, but he said that he was going to apply to several others. So I think it's just if you pay me, I will come type thing. So Okay, I put that one for 0. Is everyone okay with that? Okay. Moving to the next, Jafar Mansell, West African Drumming Workshop, Come Out and Play. This is spring, summer of 2025, at the Jones Library of Amherst, requesting $300. That's the total budget and the total request. And Jafar Mansell is a teacher, and his performance group will perform a short set of West African drum rhythms, and then they'll talk briefly about the history of the rhythms played, what they mean, where they come from, and then demonstrate the basic hand placement and techniques. And then in a group format, 1 or possibly 2 rhythms can be explored. And they'll start with having some overlapping parts and put everything together. And all of the instruments will be provided by the teacher, but you are welcome as a participant to bring your own drum as well. So is there anyone who has questions or would like to speak to this?
I will champion this. I think it's spot on. Unique. I feel with fun music, but I haven't seen a request like this that will teach them their actual history and all that. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This group is also known as the Wendell Warriors. They have a letter of support from the Jones for this, and they perform for free for our fall block party. And, you know, I don't know how many people were up on stage for that performance. It might have been close to 20. I don't know. It was so much fun. So, yeah, $300. And it's here in Amherst. It's participatory. There's history. Does everyone support trying to get them the full 300?
Definitely.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Next, we have Jess Martin applying for Echoes in Nature, Hampshire County. This would occur between April to November of 2025. They're confirmed for 2 times in the spring and 2 times, once in the spring and fall at the Bangs, and then potentially at the Jones. They're asking for $1,000 out of their $1,460 budget. And it's a collaborative arts project led by Kim Hoff. She's a natural essayist and poet, and Jess Martin is a singer-songwriter. So they're going to explore 6 unique natural areas in Hampshire County and use immersive experience and experiential walks to create original songs and poems inspired by the landscapes. And then the resulting 6 songs and poems will be performed and read at each of the community presentations. They want to deepen the community's connection to these spaces and promote environmental stewardship through artistic expression. There are components of history and ecological significance of the locations, and they'll invite the audience to engage with their surroundings. And there will be also a visual part of the performance that's video with captioning, and provide printed lyrics of the songs. Is there anybody who has questions or would like to speak to this one? I'm not seeing if people are raising hands.
Sorry, that was
I think, oh, I'm so sorry.
no, you go ahead, Evelyn.
I think I could do like maybe a half funding. Again, I want to be a little bit more conservative, especially as we head in deeper. So I think if we at the end of our deliberation, if we see that there's more funds, I could definitely see maybe funding it more. But I feel like for me, like somewhere in the 350 to 500 range feels good.
Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty big big ask. So I do see that they have some in-kind support. So the performance bit is being provided by the Bang Center. And they're going to get some help promoting it from the Hitchcock Center. And they say if they get partial funding, they'll prioritize the artist fees and core activities. So they've also requested funds from Belchertown, East Hampton, Williamsburg, and Northampton. So with that, I think it's certainly reasonable to look at partial funding. And there is a letter of support from the Director of Senior Services over at the Bang Center. This also should be flagged for categorization bill for the Bang Center. That's one I should have mentioned. There are a couple of places that come up regularly. We try to kind of track those. So out of $1,000, especially since they've got multiple councils that they're applying to, however, you know, it does look like they'd, you know, definitely be at the Bang Center that is in Amherst. And then possibly at the Jones. So it might be more appropriate for Amherst to give them, you know, more than the councils that they're applying to that aren't in Amherst.
It looks like it will happen either way. Just the priorities will shift.
Mm-hmm. Is there a number anybody would like to use here?
$4, $5.
That's almost half. I don't know. Do you think we can go half?
Or how about 250 or 3?
I've got a nod from Eleanor on 250 or 3.
Yeah.
Let's go on the higher side of that and put the 300 down. Okay. All right. Next, Delia Bridget Martinez is applying for Salsa con Tacos Latin Dance. Would occur this upcoming year. It will be at the Mill River Recreation Park and also occurring at Progression Brewing Company in Northampton. They're requesting $3,000 out of their $3,900 budget. This is, they've been doing this for several years now. I think this might be the 3rd or 4th year running, where they hold salsa lessons and socials at Mill River that are sponsored by Amherst Parks and Recreation. They also organize monthly Latin dance lessons and socials at Progressive Brewing in Northampton. So they were able to do 13 events with free dance classes with an average of about 130 people per event for inside events and 200 for outside events. And each class was attended by dancers of all skill levels. And the social that followed had music that was much appreciated. And they received fantastic community response and high attendance numbers. So they would continue their work to have their guest instructors come back and teach free Latin dance lessons to the community. Anyone questions or would like to speak to this? They do have a great track record.
I'm happy to champion this for the fact that it's dance, it's participatory, it's Latin culture, which we haven't seen a whole lot of yet. And, you know, it being outside at Mill River and bringing people there is also a benefit to me.
Yeah.
So
One thing that I hesitate with is that they're requesting 3,000 and I think the 900 that they're not requesting is, let's see, well, it's not covering food. Everything in their $3,900 could be covered. But you know, considering that they're also going and doing events now in Northampton, I'm looking to see if they applied to Northampton.
No, they just say
Yeah.
we applied last year. So
Just
no.
to Amherst. So,
Yeah.
and to give a little background, their grant last year from us that we awarded was $1,200. So I think I'd like to, they've been successful. I'd like to encourage them and continue to fund them with more funds. So I think we can go up from the 1,200 from last year, but I don't think we can get anywhere near the 3,000.
I would like to also champion. I think I would like to advocate for maybe somewhere in the 2,000 to 2,100 range. I've been to many events by them, and I know that one, they're very high impact. They always have a great attendance, and it's not just one specific audience or even one specific group of people that go, but it's truly like an all culture, all background, all ages event. I've seen people there from very young to a little bit higher on the age spectrum. And they're truly very inclusive. So I think for sure. And it's also kind of one of the only free events that we really have that has this high draw. So I'm definitely in support of a high partial support, if not full.
Yeah, I think we could even argue that as far as community benefit for the Northampton events, they've really been focused here in Amherst, and I think they've got a loyal following that will follow them to Northampton too.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, I think 2,000 may end up being a stretch, but how do other folks feel with the number to use?
I could get behind 2,000 at least. I know that's a stretch, but just
Yeah, I think
want to keep a great thing going.
yeah, I think the benefit is there if we have the money. Is everyone okay with 2,000?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Sophie Michaud. This is for the Tiny Glass Tavern concert and singing workshop On and Ever Onward, which will be in April 2025 in Conway and in Northampton. They're requesting $300 out of their $7,260 budget. This Tiny Glass Tavern was founded by Sophie Michaud. She's a resident of Conway. And they have a concert and workshop in Conway and Northampton. They have an ensemble of 14 singers. Most of them have ties to Western Mass, and they spend a week in residence in Conway, offering a singing workshop to all. And they explore choral music. They won't go through all of it, but it culminates in a concert at the Northampton Center for the Arts on April 13th. And everyone from Bach to Bjork to the Roaches and the Dirty Projectors. There's also folk music from Bulgaria and the Republic of Georgia and from the US. So they're seeking financial support for travel expenses, which we can't fund, teaching supplies, recording fees, and to pay the 14 artists. And they will tour in Brattleboro and Somerville, Mass to help finance the whole project. So is there anyone who would like to speak to this or has any questions? Thoughts, anything?
I mean, my note was that it had kind of a weak tie to Amherst. If we're going to take that line.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that was along those lines of what I will say sounds more like a fellowship than a public event. but they do got a concert, right? So I mean, double-edged sword.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as the location, that's a tough one. I mean, it is pretty unique, but I think you make a good point that it seems like a fellowship of people. It's like these people are going to come and join together and do a retreat together, which sounds very nice. Last year, by the way, the amount that they were granted was $95. So
Man,
it-
I would say maybe 100.
and yet every time we fund something, I mean, in Conway and Northampton, then it's less that we're doing here. So I
Mm,
don't know. I mean, we might have to draw a harder line here.
yeah,
Any other thoughts?
I would advocate for a pass on this one.
I wouldn't mind that.
Okay. I will put it down for 0 because of having weak ties to the area. And I do think it's going to happen whether Amherst is funding it or not. Okay. Next up, Mohawk Trails Concerts. It's their summer 2025 festival that happens from June 21st to July 26th. And it occurs at the Charlemont Federated Church. They're requesting $500 out of their $33,700 budget. And this is just a chamber music festival featuring 7 concerts on 6 consecutive Saturdays, as well as a free 4th of July jazz concert, which has me wondering what the cost to attend is. They say that they serve about 900 folks. And I'm not seeing clearly what the ticket price is. Would anyone like to speak to this one?
So that donation of $25.
Yeah.
It says.
I guess, while we have funded this pretty consistently in the past, I don't know just how many folks are traveling from Amherst on a regular basis. I think some folks do. But I could take a look and see what they were funded in the past. I mean, in some cases, I think how we were considering things, especially, during the pandemic, was a little bit different as well. At a certain point, a couple years back, it was just good that anybody was doing anything and figuring it out, and people were willing to travel. We funded them 190 last year. But if we really are taking a harder line that it's just not local enough, this one, it's not very local.
Yeah, I mean, this is to me, it's in the same category as the last one.
Are we all agreed on that?
I think also
Mm.
we maybe further back, I think in one of the first meetings that we had, we decided to fully fund one of their previous things. So I think maybe since we decided to do that earlier in our meetings, maybe we could pick one over the other.
I'm
In
just not
terms
sure
of,
what
I
that
want to say I saw something about Charlemont. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was
yeah,
like a
this is
lecture
different.
series that they also
Yeah.
did on the web. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
maybe I just wanted to bring that up.
I think in this case, it is a different group. It's just a space that's there. And to your point, one of the reasons we were willing to fund that was they've done such a great job with really having a national, global audience as well, and as well as the topics that they were covering.
Absolutely.
So
I didn't notice that. Sorry, I thought it was the same organizing group. And so I was like, maybe we could pick one or the other, but yes, venues. That's
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so I'm putting this one at 0 unless someone feels strongly, and it will be reviewed again before we vote. Okay. All right, moving to the next. The next is for the Montague Shakespeare Festival. It occurs March through April at the Shea Theater in Turner Falls, Mass. And it is, I think this is their second year. So it enriches the cultural and education scene through a celebration of Shakespeare's work. Their artistic director was with the Royal Shakespeare Company and with Shakespeare Globe, and is an expert in Shakespearean voice and text. And they'll be directing the main stage production of the Scottish play, because you never say the name of it. Last summer they did a Midsummer Night's Theater for this, and they offer in-person workshops, community outreach, and school sessions. They also do Zoom workshops for artists from the Royal Shakespeare Company and the Globe. So they had extended the access to worldwide attendance last year. So basically it integrates professional talent with local talent, and brings immersive performances and activities to the public space. And they're making Shakespeare accessible for all. They are requesting that I say the numbers, $1,000 out of their $16,000 budget. Anyone who would like to speak to this one?
I'll advocate for them. I think that it's a really cool organization and performance, and I know it's kind of far, but I think we funded them last year as well, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know that we can do the full 1,000, but maybe I would say is half sound sort of okay to people?
I would kind of hope that we could do more. I didn't get to attend last year, but I think I really think it's a pretty high caliber event. Have any kind of, Shakespeare festival type stuff here in the area that I've known of at all. And it's not a goofy one. It's kind of like smart, and they're involving folks from the globe.
Yeah, I would love to do more than half. I just was, thinking in terms of how much we'll have, but yeah, I would love to put it down for more than or closer to 1,000 if possible.
Yeah, and I do think, people from the area, certainly are attending it. I don't have doubts about that. We're happy to hear other comments.
I think in an ideal world, I would say maybe like 750. Again, it does seem like a very good opportunity for the area. It's adding a different caliber of culture, I think. My only qualm is that it's a little bit far away. However, I think maybe that can be fudged. I think it just depends on, like, again, where we're drawing that hard line.
Yeah, I personally, I would fully fund it if we could, and I think people, will be attending. I'm trying to see the amount that we funded it last year, and it's not jumping out at me on the page. I can't find them at the moment. If we want to be a little bit more cautious to start, we could go with a slightly lower number if someone wants to throw one out.
I mean, I kind of had 600 in mind. The distance on this one bothers me less because it's clearly a draw. And the fact that it becomes global, that they actually bring in folks from the globe, is an additional benefit to me. So I would be good with that.
Great. Yeah. I think that we could, I don't know, could we do, how do folks feel about 750 or 800?
I'd be okay with 750.
I think 750 is what I would put down to. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. All right. The next is musicdance.edu. They're applying for 2 grants. One is for I Am Autistic, I Am Fantastic, the musical that would be performed in April 2025. And the project location is going to be at the Memory Care Unit Center for Extended Care at Amherst. And they're requesting $800 out of their $900 budget. And so this is a repeat applicant. They would be using musical instruments, creative movement, poetry, and problem-solving activities to inspire, uplift, and educate autistic children and families at the community at large. So they're citing that in 1970, the Autism Society launched a nationwide effort to promote autism awareness and ensure that all affected are able to achieve the highest quality of life. The musical selections in this presentation are inspirational, include contemporary jazz songs, 70s music, soft rock, hip hop, and a selection of popular Broadway musicals. And the presentation is about an hour and includes a 10-minute intermission. The applicant is also applying for hip hop chair dance for seniors. It's a dance series and it would occur on or after Black History Month. And it's planned to occur at both the Arbors and at the Center for Extended Care at Amherst, and they're requesting $800 out of their $900 budget. And this is an event they apply for each year, which is a dancing series that lasts about an hour, and they're able to complete chair dance and warm up and hip hop classes. And they travel through time with Soul Train, etc. And they use some creative props. And the senior participants will leave feeling more limber, all aboard the Hip Hop Soul Train Express. So just I think we need to take both of these together. And I am just looking through to see if there is a letter of support specifically for, no, I don't believe I have. I'm sorry about the background noise here. There's kind of a list of references, but I don't know if there aren't any letters of recommendation. Is that correct? Did anybody else see anything? Did I lose everyone?
I don't believe I saw anything.
Yeah, I see the same thing that you do.
I do think that the hip hop chair event is something that's become kind of an annual thing that community looks forward to, and you know they are an underserved community, so I think that one's pretty important. In prior years, we've not been able to extend more than one grant to an applicant. We've only been able to do one grant.
Would it be, I think it would be maybe possible if we can agree to a total number to give to them and then split it based on what we think. I don't know what the criteria would be for splitting it, but if we decided maybe we would give $400 period, we could say, okay, maybe 150 for the musical and then 250 for the hip hop dance, or vice versa. That's just an example, but maybe that's what we could do to show support for both and encourage them. But
I'm hesitant to do that. And I'd say for probably the last 5 years, this applicant's been sent a message that, you know, only one of their grants could be funded because under, you know, the local guidelines that we've supplied in other years, we state that we can only, you know, have one grant from any one group or individual. So, you know, with that, I would lean towards a partial funding of the one that the communities can kind of come to rely on. I also kind of feel like the musical that's being proposed, I'm not sure that that the structure's there. It's a little confusing, especially without a particular like letter of support there. You know, so if I had to choose between the two, I'm sure she'd do a great job with either. You know, I'd go with the more sure thing that, you know, they have had participants in. And the other thing with doing like 150 on the musical, you know, she's requesting pretty much the entire budget, you know, from the Amherst Cultural Council. So it does say that she's also applied to several other cultural councils. So I mean, I think this artist does a tremendous amount of, you know, benefit for this particular community, and I'd support, you know, trying to um fund it close to what we've done in the past. Last year we were at 600. And the prior year we were at 600. And it is for multiple events.
Yeah, I'm good with that. As much as I would love to promote the musical, it didn't feel like there was enough there yet.
Yeah, right? I mean, I think it's like kind of a thing that would be like nice to do, whereas the other one's like solid.
Yeah, and maybe another year of development on that would be great, and they can think through. I mean, even the application, they either, I don't know if they copied and paste like the targeted audience, but for the musical, it listed it as the folks at the senior center, which is great. But for a musical like that, I would think you want to reach out broader.
I agree. Okay, so we'll go ahead with and try to fund $600 for the hip hop chair dance sessions. Okay. Is that everyone's good? I can't see you guys. I'm staring at Excel. I probably have like a kind of look on my face when I stare at stuff.
I'm good with that.
Thank you. Okay, moving along. Now we have Myrtle Street Klezmer with their Spring Klezmer Carnival. That is, they're planning for Sunday, March 29th at the Drake. They're requesting $2,000 out of their $6,650 budget. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, wow. Still just water. Excuse me. Okay, this is Myrtle Street Klezmer. And they would be collaborating with the Narluga Arts and collaborating with the Drake Theater. It's a spring klezmer carnival, full day gathering for music and food, and gives activities, workshops, community for the community focusing on klezmer music, very celebratory music from across the Jewish diaspora. It's going to feature performances by local and touring klezmer bands, including the Myrtle Street Klezmer. And I literally can't see at the moment. The Burkes, yikes, I'm probably mispronouncing that, and Gordon Lockwood. And there would be art activity by local children's book illustrator Madison Safer. There's also freshly baked babkas. And there's Jewish amulet making and a beginning accordion workshop, along with Yiddish song sessions and tarot card readings. Is there anybody who would like to speak to this one?
I would champion this. I wouldn't say 2000, but somewhere in the 850 if possible range again. Just a variety of stuff they seem to have a solid plan. Yeah.
I think I basically, yeah, agree with that. I'm seeing here that the Drake Theater is offering a free rental as an in-kind donation. I would, and let's see, they've got a letter of recommendation from a pediatrician who's a board member of the Downtown Amherst Foundation. So I think that's confirming that they're making the space available and that they're making their highly trained technical staff available. So to that end, with that much support, you know, I'd like to, you know, provide some solid funding for it, especially since it's right here, kids activity, Yiddish culture. I mean, what did we say we were going to try to provide to the Klezmer Festival in that's not here, for instance? I think we kind of have to look at that, right? So we are trying to fund that one to the tune of $850. So I would think we have to do better than that for what's right here.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it's in April, and right? Am I remembering that correctly? No, even yeah, March 29th. I'm telling you, by that time, we're probably all desperately tired of winter and just needing something to do, but we're not ready to be outside. I'd say we put down the full 2,000 and come back to it, considering that it's cultural, it's for the entire family, you know, and that it's right here and that it has quite a bit of support already. Is there anyone who feels that that's just too much?
I would say we could go back and we could even rebalance between these two events if we need to.
Between which two? This one and then the next one that's coming up, or you mean the two cluster?
Yeah.
Okay. I think actually we kind of have to take this next one somewhat in conjunction or not, I don't know, with the one we just did, because in this case it's Narluga Arts and they're looking to do Amherst Street Beats from June to August, and they would like to use the new municipal stage in downtown Amherst, and they were requesting $3,000 out of their $8,200 budget. This is a series of concerts featuring both local and touring bands. It would be held bi-weekly on Sunday afternoons, June to August. It'd be free and open to the public. The bands would be selected through an open call that's going to be publicized locally in print and on radio and online media, and they'd be chosen by a panel of local cultural leaders and prioritizing artists from historically underrepresented communities. A local nonprofit or educational institution would be able to do a short presentation of their work and solicit donations at each concert. A local food truck vendors would be invited to sell food for the concerts, and the project is being presented with the full support and encouragement of the Downtown Amherst Foundation, the organization that administers the new stage. Is there anyone who has any questions or would to speak to this one?
Because the Narluga consultant folks are involved in both, do we have to choose between the two?
We don't, because one was requested specifically by Myrtle Street Klezmer, and the contact for that was Jason Deitzian, and then the next one, the contact, well, that's also Jason Deitzian. So in the past, we would have had to circle back and select actually. I'm looking to see if there is definitely a letter here. They have $1,500 worth of private donations are already confirmed, and local business sponsorships to the tune of $2,000. 800 of which was confirmed. And there's another 700 of pending donations as of the time of the application. And there is a letter of support from the same board member from the Downtown Amherst Foundation. Yeah, typically in years past, we would have liked to have seen the applicant kind of put everything into one application. I have a little bit of a concern on this one with not enough there yet, as far as when I'm looking at the timing of it. That it's for it to happen in June, and they won't know until July if it's a go or not. I mean, they are already raising money, so maybe they're already doing the work, but putting out the open call and then kind of vetting the talent to get it lined up. I don't know, Evelyn, maybe this is more up your alley. What do you think about the timing of kind of bringing this together?
I mean, I think it's definitely doable. Is there any indication of like what their team might look like? Have they put something to this scale previously? Have we donated to them before? I mean, I think that's quite a turnaround for an event that is projected to be that size. And I can take a closer look as well to see if I missed something on my end as well.
Yeah, as far as if there are any other individuals or organizations that are committed, so there's a firm commitment from John Snyder as a project coordinator for the board of Downtown Amherst Foundation. But he also wrote both of the letters of recommendation. I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, if I had to choose one, I would certainly be looking at choosing the one in March, because it seems like a more sure thing. It has the cultural aspect to it in addition. This other one, it's pretty broad. Hey, it sounds like a great time, but yeah, we kind of don't quite know what it's going to be, right?
I think I think March sounds. I think the impact in March is going to be a lot greater than potentially June through August. I think very few events get the attendance needed that I think would make this worth fully funding. Does that make sense?
It does.
I think in March it would be a little bit easier to get more of that impact because there's just more people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree.
And
And we're
you know, I mean, at this point, with them requesting $5,000 total from us, that's, you know, almost 10% of everything that we have to give. So we'll try to do the best we can with the first of the two requests. Okay. Moving on to the next, David Neal is applying for his music concert by the Fanfare Brass Ensemble. This would be March 25th at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church on North Pleasant Street in Amherst. He's requesting $900 out of his $900 budget. And it's a 10-part group, including 4 trumpets, a French horn, 4 trombones, and a tuba. And they will present a varied program of classical and light popular music. I'm not going to go into the many wonderful things that they will perform. And I just wanted to look. So their expecting around 100 people to attend. And $825 of this goes to the cost of the musicians, $25 goes to postage and printing a flyer. They and there is, I guess, an email of support here that they have been invited to perform at their church on March 23rd by the Minister of Music. Is there anyone who like to just to speak to this one? Is any thoughts here?
I'm not sure if I am at the point of full support. I think potentially we could do half support, but I also know that we have a couple performances that are very similar to this style. I'm remembering a lot of early on we have a ton of like orchestral performances and things that are kind of this nature. So I think I would say my ceiling is definitely 450, but I think we could maybe do something a little bit lower than that.
Yeah, I'm concerned, when I actually the email, the way it reads, where you have the Minister of Music requesting that this musician, come and perform at their church. It just doesn't really resonate with me as really being I'm sure everyone's welcome, but as far as being more like the other kinds of events where the public at large feels super comfortable that, they're meant to be there, it feels, like it maybe belongs to a much smaller group. And the numbers that they're looking at is around 100 people, and they're looking at sending the information, like mailing it out. So it feels like it's very targeted to specific people. It doesn't necessarily, I think it's only $25 that they're looking to use for marketing. So I just don't see that the word's really going to get out there, even for all of those people that are really devoted to brass music.
Yeah,
So
I
I'd
agree. I had the
consider
same
passing
concern.
on it.
I had the same concern as Evelyn. And also a note, like to that point, before our next meeting, Julianne, I will send you a spreadsheet with the breakouts of the types of events so that we can, going forward, and then in review, we can have that information available so we don't have to try and remember.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Is there anyone who feels really strongly about actually funding this, or well, I have it at a 0. Okay. Next up, we have this is the 2025 Youth Performance Festival at the Northampton Center for the Arts. It's running from December 7th of 2024 to February 9th. They're requesting $1,500 out of their $18,440 budget. This is the 6th year. It's a collaboration between Play Incubation Collective and the Northampton Center for the Arts. It's a free opportunity for youth artists to create original performance pieces under the guidance of mentor artists in the fields of music, dance, theater, poetry, spoken word, video, and animation. The Young Performance Festival centers the creative agency of young artists, and they're committed to supporting them. It occurs over 7 weekends at 2 locations, Northampton Center for the Arts and Make It Springfield. It's a makerspace. It culminates in 2 live performances at the Northampton Center for the Arts for the greater community on February 8th and February 9th. Is there anybody who would like to speak to this one?
So I had a question as to whether we had funded this in the past. And 2, when I read through this, I came away with the thought that, not the thought, I think they said this outright, that they were looking to really increase the size of their Springfield cohort which made me wonder, how much we should support it with, even though they are performing in Northampton. And it's not definite. I'm certainly up for debate on that. Just something I noted.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks, locally, when we see Springfield, that we're also looking at that regionally as a, underserved, I don't know that I'm gonna choose the wrong words, folks. I'm really tired, but often I think they're looking to engage a community that doesn't have access to the arts because the income levels are not necessarily the same as they'd be here. That said, I think Amherst schools, Cody, do you know the number as far as, back when we used to have free lunch for some students, because now it's for everybody. I mean, the total percentage here in Amherst of folks who were receiving that, I don't think it was quite 50%, but it wasn't too far below that either. So we have funded it in the past. It was funded at $800 last year, but I certainly hear you as far as, are there literally any Amherst folks participating in it? And I don't necessarily know that if we were to get into the application itself, if it really spells out, what's the benefit per se to the Amherst community, other than supporting other communities. It says it serves 350 people, including 45 youth who are served. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, you make a good point. I mean, I'm sure Springfield is often overlooked. And I grew up in a community like that too. And like, yeah, everything seemed to go everywhere else except where we.
and I guess, now that I'm looking at this, as far as folks from Amherst that are directly involved, John Bechtold, the drama teacher at the high school, who's fantastic. He is a collaborator along with two of our teachers at the middle school, Claire Coco and Ashley Dunn. I don't know them myself. And, from that point of view, and really, I was a kid who was involved in theater, and what they're doing here is pretty amazing. They're not just, putting on the musical grease, like it's the kids are like actually getting to be playwrights and getting to direct. And I can tell you from my kids being at the high school and working with John Bechtold, I was blown away as far as pretty much the kids run the theater productions at the high school. My daughter did the costuming, like literally there weren't any adults over there really helping out with it. Like, I'm a fashion designer. They didn't want my help. They had a whole bunch of students doing it. And so I think, knowing who's involved, that there is benefit to the Amherst community, and it is a way for us to engage, with the broader community. And really, when I look at, to kind of share the talents of our high school and middle school teachers. And I think that also leads to people who are considering school choice, to have a connection and to, so when they're coming here, they're not total outsiders, right? And I think that's a huge benefit. Sometimes Amherst is a little uppity, and
Yeah, I also say, no, John Battle have done for 2 shows for him, and see those that can travel go just because he's respected. So I would find this on some level.
well, last year we provided $800. Is that a number that we should try to stay in that same ballpark, or?
I was gonna suggest something around that ballpark. Um, yeah, I mean, I think maybe we could put down 800 for now, and then if we have funds or if we're, thinking about, I know that we benched a couple candidates for being too far away, or said we'll do low for now and then we'll see. Maybe that's something that we could consider for this one. Because I think also I'm assuming if these local teachers are involved, they're also probably bringing students. I know that as a young art student way back in the day, we used to go to like clinics and like workshops and stuff like this, and worked on honing our craft. And so I feel like this is very similar to that kind of thing. I just wish that if that is what they're doing, that it was a little bit more explicit, so I could not infer that that's kind of the area that we're or the area of activity that is going on here. Like, I wish that it would say specifically we're bringing high school students from Amherst here.
Did you read,
or something
did
like
you
that.
happen to read the entire application?
I believe I did, but I'm not. Now I'm questioning.
Yeah, I
It's okay.
did. I don't remember it verbatim. I don't recall it being that specific, but I would make the same inference, Evelyn.
Yeah.
And I'm good with the 800 number, and we're at time.
Okay. All right. 800 is the number that we have for now. Okay. Moving to the next. This is Novi Cantori of Greater Springfield. This is their spring concert at the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst on Sunday, June 15th. They're requesting half of their $1,400 budget, so they're asking us for $700. And Novi Cantori is a professional chamber choir. They bring high quality choral music to the Valley. They've been doing so for over 40 years. Since the pandemic, the group shifted towards egalitarian collaboration, an egalitarian collaboration model. And they have a repertoire committee selects the program, and they prioritize music of composers under groups. They I think she's barking because of the next part that I'm getting to, which is in 2022, they performed a set of songs about animals, including a concert at an abandoned building brewery, and they also donated to Dakin Animal Shelter. This June, they plan to present a choral program on the idea of pride. They'll feature songs composed by LGBTQ composers and poets and explore the themes of self-acceptance and identity. And they hope to commission a piece by an Amherst composer, a graduate of Amherst Public Schools, and hope to collaborate with another choral ensemble and donate the proceeds to a relevant organization. So is there anyone who would like to speak to this or has any particular questions here?
I just first wanted to say we have someone in the attendees. I think this is our new person, Do Kim.
So,
Yes, I just saw that and I was like, wait. Oh, they just left. Hopefully it'll be announced.
maybe they'll come back. Okay.
Second, I definitely would love to champion this. I especially last year, I noticed that there are not that many Pride related events that happen during Pride Month. I know we have our Hampshire, I think it's Hampshire County Pride, I may be wrong, in May. In the advent of some of the main collaborators of that event kind of not most likely being here. I don't know if you guys have heard about Majestic Saloon in Northampton closing. I know that they're heavily involved in making Hampshire Pride happen. And so in the advent of that, I think we might have a gap there in this coming year. So I would love to see something that supports that, especially during Pride Month.
All noted and much appreciated. I'm just looking to see what we've funded this group year in, year out. They do tremendous work, and they do bring it right here to Amherst. Todd Fruth, Where are you, Todd? Let me see if I can see what the award was previously. I'm not seeing, it might be that it's 2 years back. $700 in 2020 fiscal year. I feel like I'm missing a year here. Missing a whole thing, having it open. Sorry guys, I'm kind of like spluttering here. Last year also 700. So I think and I think they skipped 2023. I think they did not apply. So I would have no problem trying to do a pretty good sized fund, considering they're asking for the same amount that they've received before. So unless anyone disagrees, I think we should try to do the 700 that they are requesting. All good? All right, we are 10 minutes to go. We'll try to get through 2 more.
I will flag not this one, but next one. Unless
Yep.
comes back, we need to jump.
Got it. I understand. Okay. So we have Liz O'Brien applying for Come Home to Yourself. It is, they plan for it to take place across 3 8-week sessions. Yes, that's 24 weeks. And it would take place in the Studio Firenze in Florence, Massachusetts. They've confirmed the location for these classes. It's 3 different series of 8-week classes in the Feldenkrais awareness through movement. They offer an inclusive space for queer, trans, and non-binary people to access gentle grounding movement classes. It's open with a group introduction circle and the intention to create a container for deep learning and unwinding. Each class entails unique awareness through movement lessons, most of which involve lying and moving on a mat in various verbally guided positions. Classes end with another circle to debrief and share experiences from the class. Finally, there are feedback forms to be circulated to participants to get their responses to apply to future class offerings. They are requesting $1,200 out of their $1,200 budget, all from the Amherst Cultural Council. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this one? Has any questions, thoughts?
I would champion this. I think we just don't have enough.
I have concerns about it being in Florence and Amherst. I think it's great, but I think it's really hard in this case to fund this one there.
I would not be opposed to a half funding, again, for the same reasons that I supported the other one. I think there are very few queer spaces in the area, especially not in Amherst, that are dedicated to this. And I also think in the advent of, I guess, some of the climate that is
I understand
happening now, I think we are at an increased need for queer spaces. I think I mean it wasn't up, it was up until a couple years ago that Northampton was one of the queer capitals of the US, and so I think there's definitely an audience there. There's a niche right now. As I mentioned, there's no dedicated queer spaces in Amherst and Northampton, so I could see folks from Amherst wanting to come to these events. However, again, knowing that we need to be a little bit more conservative with our funds, I can see maybe not fully funding it, but at least half or some kind of partial funding, I think could be helpful.
Yeah, I'm looking, and they did apply to Williamsburg, West Hampton, East Hampton, Hadley, Holyoke, and South Hadley. think it's interesting they didn't apply to Northampton, but maybe, I don't know. So I think we could base a partial on the assumption that while they've asked us for their entire budget, that, something like this should get broader funding.
I could do potentially 450 to maybe like 600. Would that
Where's,
be fair?
where's everybody else on this one?
I'm good with that. The fact that we have a need for a space like this and it doesn't exist overrides the distance for me.
Okay. Let's call it 500 for now. And then Cody, we're going to skip the next one because Cody would have to recuse himself and then we wouldn't have a quorum. So we will jump to the next one after that, which is Jose Perez. He is applying for a hospital for neurodiverse people and people with disabilities. The date for this to happen is to be determined, and it would be in Holyoke, Massachusetts. He's requesting $40,000 out of his $98,000 budget. And before I read through all of this, the notes that came in, there were several that said this does not meet our criteria. So I would just start off with saying, is there anyone who believes that this meets the criteria of the type of grant that we fund?
No, I would definitely encourage him, to go other avenues such as definitely local organizations offers or his state rep, and those people I just don't see any cultural council funded this.
Yeah, I think it's just way outside of what we are doing. So if we're all in agreement, I will move to the next and we'll see if we can squeak one more in, which is Pioneer Valley Acapella. Their events will take place from January to May and then from September to November next year, and they will be at the Northampton Community Music Center and 4 concert venues, which are to be determined. They're requesting $1,000 out of their $10,650 budget. This is a Northampton-based audition vocal ensemble. They've been performing unaccompanied choral music for over 40 years. Their repertoire goes from Renaissance to contemporary music and includes works that both traditional works and any that have been composed from Europe to Africa and the Americas. They will perform 2 concerts in May and 2 in November, and they occasionally do seminal choral works such as requiems by Brahms or Fauré. Most of the concerts reflected diversity of well-known and lesser-known deserving composers. They're known for attracting singers who enjoy singing a cappella, and their program reflects a love of both a cappella and as well as accompanied choral music. Both rehearsal space and concert venues are handicap accessible, and the concerts are by free will donation. Is there anyone who'd like to speak to this one?
I mean, it seems like this has a clear connection to Amherst. They note that 6 of their 30 singers are from Amherst. It sounds like they do classes in Amherst. I don't know. I can definitely see funding this partially, and would ask, the question that you always end up answering, Julianne. What have we done in past years, or does anybody know this group?
I'm trying to look back through to see if I can see anything from past groups, past years. And no, they seem familiar. I feel like I should know them. It's not jumping out at me. So they're asking for $1,000 though. Does anyone have a particular number in mind here?
I personally had like 500 in mind.
Agreed.
I was even gonna go a little lower than that, but I'm okay to say 500 and adjust.
What was your number going to be?
350 maybe. But I think I'm just being a little conservative, and I would be fine.
Honestly, I think in the end that we would probably end up there, you know, from the point of view of just the sheer amount of music and choral music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm
With that.
everyone's okay. I'll put it at the 350. And yeah. All right, we are at time. Wow, you guys are a tight group. Talk about some timing and rhythm and getting things done. This is going great. Thank you all for being here. Literally, we couldn't have done it without you. Like literally. So, and to wrap up, we skipped the powwow, so we're roughly at that puts us back at 68 of the grants. So we've got oof, I can't do math in my head. This is really embarrassing.
About 40 left.
Yeah, yeah,
Side-eyeing.
about 40. So we're making good progress, but that is in the neighborhood of 3.5 hours, you know, of us really 5 minute, 5 minute, 5 minute. Right. So that is easily 2 meetings. Who knows? Maybe we can get, and then we still have to do the bit where we circle back and revisit a few. Maybe we can get it done by the 16th.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we have maybe a running number of what we have kind of preliminarily,
Yeah, we do.
just so that kind of as we go through the next couple?
I've got a number currently at 49,450 is what we have roughly figured so far. So there's definitely going to be some cutting, and that's probably going to have to happen.
Would you be so kind to remind me what our total is again? I know it's in the 60.
Still owe that to you from last time, and I literally have had no time to go look it up, but
Fair.
there is a little bit of kind of adjustment that we can do. I'm not going to get into the administrative numbers and drag everyone through that right now.
Here.
But let me just pull the report, the financial report that I sent in to the MCC. Sorry, I know that you asked that and I owed it to you from before.
No, it's totally okay. I thought it was answered before.
Okay, so I'm pulling up the report.
I'm so sorry. I had another Zoom at 8 that I just have to jump onto.
Please, yeah, you can go ahead. We're not discussing. Okay. So thank you so much, Eleanor. And actually, I'm going to end the recording right here.
Okay.
So thank you, and we'll see you next week, right? Next week? No. Yes.
I didn't want to hold this up, but I was just wondering.
No, it's a great question. So I'm going to